Hey everyone, welcome back to Maple Syrup Tech. We're up to part 3 of our eBay CPU cooler series, and today we're going to be looking at the big boy, the 6 copper heat pipe $20 eBay cooler, and we're going to be looking at what performance it can give and if it's worth your time and money as we did for the previous videos. By the way, if you guys want to see the reviews of the $10 and the $15 cooler, the links will be up above in the left corner, or right corner for you guys, sorry. Now, let's get to a description first of all of the cooler we got, and it'll be a starting point so we can take a look at the results. So the $20 eBay is once again made by AVC, which is Asia Vital Components, as the $15 cooler was. This is a generic brand from China, and they seem to be, from their website, more of a company that generally sells to other manufacturers who probably rebrand their products. The tower style design is once again with a center mounted fan. However, this time the cooler comes equipped with 6 direct contact 6mm copper heat pipes. It's still equipped with one single 92mm LED fan. However, this time the fan is PWM compatible with a maximum RPM of around 2000 RPM. The cooler is much heavier this time around, which the heatsink on its own weighs 425 grams. However, the overall dimensions are pretty similar to the $15 model, with a height of 133 millimeters, 92 millimeters wide, and 97 millimeters deep. As in the previous models, it's compatible with all modern sockets, including AM4, as long as you have the stock backplate for the mounting mechanism. So now let's go take a look at the results. Before we get to the results, let's just take a quick look at the methodology I used, just so that we're all on the same wavelength. First of all, for heat testing, basically I used my open air test bench, which is a Ryzen 3 1200 overclocked to 3.9 gigahertz using 1.3 volts. The fans are always locked at 100%. And the results are very important to note that they are in delta temperatures, meaning that it's the temperature above the ambient of the room. So if you see a result of 25 degrees ambient temperature, you have to add in the fact that the room was probably at 25 degrees, meaning that the CPU was running somewhere around 50. So, and for the noise results, it's important to know that I use my portable sound meter placed 2 feet above the motherboard. And basically, I take the highest sound emitted over a 30-second period, which is really simulating someone who games with their PC on their desk a few feet away from their head. So it's really a worst-case real-life scenario, because since mine is an open-air test bench, in real life you'll probably have your case, which will absorb a little bit of the sound. So now that we know what we're talking about, let's take a look at first the temperature results for this cooler. So overall, this cooler was actually a really strong performer. It performs at 27 degrees above ambient temperature, placing it just slightly better than the results for the Thermaltake Contact 12, and just slightly behind the Gamax 400, which are 2 of my favorite coolers. So temperature-wise, this CPU cooler is really keeping up with some of the best budget CPU coolers we've tested so far. Because keep in mind that for the moment we're focused on best price for money. If we look at the noise, once again, the results were actually pretty decent. At 46 decibels, it's just a little bit noisier than the Contact 12, once again, without the LNC installed. And it's about equivalent to the Gamax 400. So noise-wise, this cooler, the fan seems decent and the fan isn't overly noisy. Of course, I believe that a little bit of the noise being lower actually comes from this center-mounted fan design, which sort of absorbs a little bit of the sound into the body itself of the cooler. But it's an efficient design. I actually really like the idea of center-mounted fans, because I find you're using more of the surface area of your heatsink. But so overall, it was actually a pretty strong performing cooler. So why shouldn't you buy this cooler on eBay? Well, the actual answer is you should buy this cooler if you live close enough where someone can deliver it to you in a timely manner. That's the only downside, as I've had with as I said with the previous 2 coolers. I'm actually happy to note as well, sorry, because if you guys seen my previous videos, this is one of the only ones that came to me with very, very minor damage. Because unfortunately the other two coolers were pretty banged up by the time I got them, which was one of the downsides of buying a cooler on eBay. The box took a little bit of a beating, but overall the cooler inside was in pretty decent shape. A few bent fins here and there, but nothing major like the last two coolers. But that's something to keep in mind when you're dealing with free, overseas shipping, because to get this cooler at the $20 price point that we're talking about, you really have to find someone offering it with free, free worldwide shipping. And unfortunately, it isn't going to be packaged top notch. It's probably, and they don't really take really great care of it, it seems, when they're delivering them. So unfortunately, the coolers get a little banged up sometimes. However, if you live closer to, Asia, I imagine, which is where these coolers are mostly coming from, China, it can actually be a worthwhile option for you. Because the second downside is that here in North America, the coolers take between 1 to 3 months almost to get to you. Meaning that if you need one from a build like right now, it's not a decent option for you. And price-wise, it's performing excellent. Like, I can't say anything. For $20, this cooler is toe-in-toe with two of my favorite budget coolers, which is the Thermaltake Contact 12 and the Gamax 400. So I really can't complain about it. However, the upside of those other two coolers is that if I'm in the middle of a build and I need a cooler, I can pop over to any store, or I can order one from Amazon or Newegg and have it at my doorstep in like a couple of days max. While this, if I order it on eBay, I have to cross my fingers to get it within a month, and if you're unlucky, you'll get it 2 to 3 months later. So that's always a downside of buying this cooler on eBay. But once again, performance-wise, I cannot complain. So this is actually a really worthwhile cooler, and with 6 copper heat pipes at $20, you can see why it's performing the way it is. It's making up for maybe a cheaper design with brute force. Having 6 copper heat pipes is really helping it like pull the heat away from the CPU. So overall, this cooler is, yes, you should buy it if you can wait for it to get there, and if you're lucky enough to not get it banged up. So I hope you guys appreciated the video. This is pretty much going to wrap up for the moment on the eBay CPU cooler series. However, if you guys have any other CPUs that you've seen on eBay that you would really like me to test, leave them in the comments down below. Leave the links down below for your eBay search, and I'll look into it. And if it can fit time-wise and budget-wise for the channel, it'll be a pleasure for me to test those coolers for you. If there's any other coolers on the market in the budget category that you guys that I haven't tested yet and that you guys would like to see, once again, link them in the comments down below. And as usual, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe so the channel can keep growing. And I hope I'll see you guys in my next video.